Spoilers.
Welcome to our Walking Dead podcast, Talking Decay. I am Soldier Only.
With the one and only Fuchsia here as well to talk about the Walking Dead.
Yes, last night's episode was called The Other Side, and it focused, mainly on Rosita and Sasha's
Yes, it did.
mission. We did get to see some other things. We actually finally got to see something that was long overdue. Daryl and Maggie finally talk.
And Maggie, I am really thankful that Maggie doesn't blame Daryl, even though
she's too good of a person too. I wouldn't think for a second
really
she would.
She really is that just genuine, good soul, good person. Look at who her dad was.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm glad that they were able to, because Daryl was having a really hard time even looking at Maggie.
Yeah, he wouldn't even look at her.
Yeah, and she's like, no, look at me. It's okay. It's not your fault.
Mm-hmm. And when he did look at her is when he, broke down and was, crying.
And then you also got to see a different side of Jesus with Maggie, with the connection they had, and
right.
how he says it's hard for him to get close to people and boyfriends.
And boyfriends, yeah. So, yeah. I'm glad that they did stick to that with the comics with him. Excuse me. Yes, because, ever since he's been introduced, we already have a gay couple and stuff in Alexandria, and they hadn't gotten to that part about him yet, so I was like, are they going to leave that out, are they going to change that? But I'm glad they kept that.
Well, do you remember seasons back when it was Michonne and Andrea, where you thought Michonne had a thing for Andrea?
She kind of did.
And now she's with Rick.
Right. But we know Michonne before the apocalypse was, had a kid and,
True.
Was with a guy and stuff. So, so we know that.
Yeah.
But with her and Andrea, there definitely was something there beyond friendship, family stuff. There was something there. I don't think anything ever happened with them, but there was something there.
Yeah. But, last night's episode was good, and I was nervous that they were going to find him, because when they went to hide Daryl, I had completely forgotten about the fact that they don't know Maggie's still alive. So that's why she was hiding too. And I'm like, oh no, wait, why is she? Oh yeah, that's why she's hiding. Because as far as the Saviors know, Maggie is dead.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that too. Because, as soon as the Saviors first showed up, we're like, oh crap, Daryl, go. And Daryl starts running, but then when they both went into the underground, I'm like, oh, right. I had totally forgotten about that. That Maggie's in hiding, too.
That is true. Which I think they would both be safer at the Kingdom now that the Hilltop has lost their doctor.
See,
and that's
right.
where Carol is. And Carol and...
Isn't that weird? Why wouldn't they go to the Kingdom where the Saviors have never actually stepped foot in?
Exactly. That's I do think
and
that's
Daryl
weird.
was there.
Yeah.
Daryl left there.
And Daryl talked to Carol, but didn't tell Carol what was going on until...
Oh, we didn't talk about this. Yeah, Carol finally knows.
Yeah, because of
Did we talk about that in last week's show?
I think we did, yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we might have.
Yeah, we did, because we talked about how Morgan actually told... How I had a lot of respect for Morgan, how at the beginning of the episode he was like, that's between you and Daryl. But then at the end of the episode, he's like, do you want to know or not?
Right.
And see, I think that's where Maggie and Daryl should go, is to the Kingdom, because Carol's now on the side to fight. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel's now on the side to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they need to be. And I wonder when Rick and Michonne and all of them are going to go back to the Hilltop or back to the Kingdom to realize that, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to fight too. Because then they just have the rest of the numbers without the scavengers, or... I still don't like them. I don't trust them.
No, yeah, I don't trust them either.
I feel like they're gonna try to be the new Negan, and they're gonna try and.
If the Saviors are gone from this world, a group like them could easally be like a rival group of our survivors. Because if you look at picture like a few seasons ago, before we even knew anything about the Saviors, the Scavengers are kind of on par with some of the groups that we saw back then. Mm-hmm. Like the Claimers. Compared to the Saviors, the Claimers aren't that bad at all, really.
Yeah, that's
Granted,
true.
the one that did try and do something with Carl, you know, that creep.
Yeah.
That forced Rick to bite the guy's freaking neck out.
Rick was savage
other than that guy. But for the most part, the rest of the Claimers, they were pretty tame compared to the Negan and the savage, the more savage ones of the Saviors. Yeah, like I don't trust them either. I don't blame you. I mean,
I just
I can see them kind of being good for this, you know, for now. But yeah, I could see stuff going sideways.
They're gonna be the next enemy, like, and they ain't nothing compared to Negan and what Negan is. But if they do successfully wipe out Negan, they're gonna try and become the new ones.
Right. I can see that. I mean, they're definitely not. They're the type of group.
They're not original.
No. But they're definitely the type. Well, that walker that they make was pretty original.
That was pretty original, yeah.
I can't remember his name, Norman or whatever the hell.
No,
it was
like not Wilson. Wilson.
It had a weird name that they named him.
Smithson or.
Yeah, I mean, he had spikes and, like, I don't know, that walker was crazy.
Charleston or something? I don't know. It's something Sin.
It was something really weird. Speaking of last week's episode, though, real quick, I do love that end scene of how it ended, is of seeing Morgan sharpening his bow to a point.
And that's why I think that's why I think Glenn, not Glenn, I can't talk today. That's why I think Daryl and Maggie should go as the Kingdom.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think whether. I mean, yeah, Daryl was there, and it makes sense. Like, I can see why he left, because he would want to go where more of the group is, you know. But
doesn't the Kingdom have a doctor?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've heard him mention we have good doctors, you know, but I don't think we've actually like met one. I don't think we've actually seen one.
I wonder if we will now that Jesus knows there's not a doctor at the hilltop. And that's the one thing Maggie needs is a doctor.
See, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, we have to mention that because they took the doctor from Hilltop back to Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And in that scene, we also realized that the doctor that Negan killed at Sanctuary was the doctor from Hilltop's brother.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what he meant by a good thing we have another Dr. Carson. I thought he meant we have Eugene. That's what I thought he meant. But Eugene did tell Negan he's a doctor and all this, but he also didn't say that he's an MD. He didn't say he was a medical doctor.
That's true.
So that makes sense that Negan brought that one over.
And I actually really enjoyed Rosita opening up, and I liked her, Rosita, when she opened up to Sasha, how Sasha asked her up front, were you happy? That he was happy, because she had clearly stated.
I don't think Sasha asked her that, but Rosita said that, yeah. Yeah.
She was like,
I like how she said that.
I was happy he was happy because for once he finally got everything together.
Yeah, Rosita said, I think that I was actually just more pissed he got his shit together before I did.
Yeah.
And then she said, I never got to tell him I was happy. He was happy.
Yeah.
And that's like heartbreaking in and of itself, mm-hmm. because she didn't have the chance to tell him that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this episode was filled with kind of like, it was just kind of awkward. Remember, I even said, "Oh boy, here goes the world's most awkward road trip." When they started mm-hmm. walking, I mean, Rosita even saw Sasha wearing Abraham's necklace.
Yes.
And
You like
Rosita's
that?
like, oh, do you like that? Like, yeah, I made it for him.
Yeah. And then Rosita herself, not Rosita, Sasha herself, doesn't do the typical takes it off. She just tucks it into her
Just
shirt.
tucks it in, right?
She's like, I don't care. It still symbolizes him.
I mean, I can kind of see that point. I mean, yeah, in the real world, most people, yeah, they'd rip that off, throw it away, whatever. But in that world where you don't really have a lot of possessions of somebody,
That's
so
true.
you kind of got to keep what you have, no matter what's kind of behind it. You know what I mean? If it still reminds you of that person or whatever, I mean, everything is so fleeting in that world. Like everything's so short.
That's true. That
So,
is true.
so I can kind of see in that world, yeah, you wouldn't necessarily just get rid of it.
We'll see, and what's his name? The top guy of the hilltop.
Isn't it Gregory?
Gregory?
Yeah.
I didn't like how he pulled Simon aside and was like, some other people might want to come in and take over. It's like,
I know.
you dumb. Like, he's
he doesn't
trying
have
to
to
sell
say
them
that,
out.
yeah, because then Simon's like, well, who? Like, we can take care of it for you, kind of, is what he's saying.
And then he invites him over to come see him at Sanctuary.
Right, yeah, he kind of did get kind of an address to him in a way, like, because he's like, I don't know where to go, Gregory is...
A sack of
Okay, remember how we've said about Dwight before? I think Dwight is going to be one of those characters where he has, like, a redeeming moment, like, right before he dies kind of thing. But Gregory, I don't think Gregory is, like, ever going to do anything good.
I don't think he is,
Like, he's going to do something really bad one of these times, really soon.
Well, and it's like in the previews, he was helping Maggie, and then he's thinking, oh, well, it's just me and her, and I.
Yeah, real quick, just what they showed in Talking Dead of the sneak peek in next episode, it looks a little shady, yeah. He was talking to Maggie, and...
I don't think he would have the guts to do anything, though.
See,
I think he would. I think he would, but I think he would kind of cover his bases before. Well, no, I don't think he would even cover his base. I don't know. He's a wild card.
Yeah, because... Well, remember, they said it before. He's a coward. Maggie said this. He's a coward, and cowards are dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, because look at... I mean, because I could see him doing something like that, like stabbing a woman in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I see your point of he kind of doesn't have the cojones to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It can go really either way with him, and that's what makes someone like him dangerous in that world. But yeah, eventually he's gonna sell out the group, or...
Well, see, and another thing I did notice is that Rosita and Sasha took the walkie-talkie that Jesus took.
Right.
And they see...
Eugene.
Eugene. Yeah, they see Eugene directing people around and taking charge, where Eugene is somebody at Sanctuary that he wasn't before. And so now and how they're like, we're coming to break you out. No, I didn't ask you to come save me. It's like, yeah, maybe he is all Negan.
Yeah.
He's
we have
going
to
out
get
for
to
the
this.
best interest for him.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about this in, like, last week's episode and probably the week before that, because, we brought up, like, has he really gone to the dark side? And at first, just like I'm pretty sure most people were probably thinking, no, he's working an angle. But after last night, I don't know, I'm not so sure anymore.
He's like in the position of power he has.
He is. And like we said, but you could tell he feels like he's somebody there, he's someone important.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've seen in the past, he's really egotistical in a way, like he's a weird breed, because like he's a coward and kind of like, you can tell he's like unsure of himself, like he doesn't fight that much, he's like skittish and stuff. But at the same time, he's got that, when he goes on that, like, when he's working an angle, he gets really egotistical, like how smart he is and all this crap. And he's stuck in that angle now, you know what I mean? Because it's like when he first came to the survivors, to our group. He was in that angle, and he was whatever they thought he was, you know, because they didn't know the real him yet. And it's that same thing that's going on in Sanctuary right now. And he thought Abraham hit him hard when they found out about his lie. We better hope Negan don't catch on. And as we've seen in the past, Negan is a very smart guy.
Well, and Negan already put him up on a pedestal, like on the spotlight. What would you do then? And he's like, molten metal. Right. And Negan's like, well, holy shit, that is a good idea.
And it's badass.
Yeah, see, so he's kind of witty when he needs to be, but he's still a coward.
Yeah, I mean, Rosita...
Even the woman called him a coward, and he's like, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Rosita told him it, you know, in a really harsh way, and then Negan's wife told him that, you know, a couple episodes ago.
I wonder what's going to happen with Sasha, because she got into the yard and was like, it's not your time. Go.
Yeah, and then she hurried and barricaded Rosita out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
And how is Eugene gonna explain that, oh hey, this person died?
I know, he just goes running off. That's what I was thinking, is like, what the hell is he gonna go, okay, like, obviously, like, he's gonna go, like, tell me, you know, go tell someone, like, hey, you know, they're breaking it. It's like, would he go that far, you know, to get, I can't believe him right now. It's crazy.
I really can't believe me. I don't know. I don't know what to think of him.
I know. I'm kind of not surprised, you know. I mean, they killed the guard next to him, and they're like, come on, you know, Eugene, come on, you know, we're breaking you out. And he's like, no, I didn't ask you to come, so go, you know.
Mm.
And then he just goes running off. So it's like, I don't know. And then Sasha's running in there like commando style, you know, just running right into the warehouse. So it's like, yeah, she's straight suicide mission, you know, like I told you before we sat down to record, I would have guessed Rosita pull a move like that before she would.
And I can understand how in Talking Dead they feel as if Sasha just took that away from Rosita.
I like that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is an interesting... It can be either... You can look at it really either way. Because it could be a selfless thing as, it's not your time, you know, like, go, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she is also robbing Rosita of her vengeance as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the way I look at it is, I look at it as how I think she intended it, and I think she really did intend it. It intended it to be like, it's not your time. Like, she didn't want Rosita to die. I think she really did it to save her, not to be like, no, I want to take the shot, you know? Granted, she did say that when Rosita came to her to go on this suicide mission, she did say, under one condition, I'd take the shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's what she was doing. I don't think she was doing this to ensure that she's the one that takes the shot.
I think she just kind of did it out of impulse.
Because remember...
The height of impulse of, well, what do we do now? She just had the thought, went with it, didn't give time to
Yeah,
consider.
I don't think it was planned. I think she saw the opening right there and did it.
Mm-hmm.
But remember when they still were up in the building, in the sniper perch, and remember when Negan came out? She was the one with the rifle aiming it, trying to get the shot. So it still would have been her in that moment, but...
She still had like a split second to do it, but then it was blocked again.
If it was me, I wouldn't have took that shot. No, that was not a good looking shot. Someone was in front of him the whole time. For most of the time, Eugene was too close to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even if it was me, I wouldn't have took that shot.
Yeah, they only had like a split second where he was clear, and then it was not a clear shot.
I mean, obviously it's a TV show and they have to keep stuff, you know, entertaining and going. But if it was me, like in the real world in that situation, I would have stayed up there and just waited out some more for the shot.
Yeah, it would have been smart.
I mean, that's a smart way to do it, yeah.
But then you even hear on the walkie-talkies, everybody in the surrounding buildings, and it's like, oh, they know they can't stay in the surrounded buildings.
And that's, exactly, that's, I'm glad you brought that up too, because, and that's why I think they're like, well, we gotta go, you know, that's why I think they left that and ended up opting to go in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that's why, because they did say something, you know, he says something like any able-bodied men out there in the surrounding buildings or whatever, which makes sense that they would have people patrolling out there to make sure people aren't, you know, like, of course they're going to have guards patrol out there. So, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah.
It does.
But you got to figure you're still somewhat safer in there than going Rambo through Sanctuary.
True.
Right? Especially, like, how many people are in Sanctuary? Like, my God.
I don't think they realize how many people live there and are stuck staying there.
Okay, well, see, they made that mistake once, right? When they took everyone out of the outpost, they thought that was it, right? And we've heard them say that. So, they know that they made that mistake before. They know... And you can tell since then, you can tell that they have always acted like they just assume that everyone they come across is a savior, you know? So they do have that mentality that the saviors are everywhere, but at the same time, I get what you mean, like, they could still, I mean, she could still go into Sanctuary and still be surprised by, like, holy hell, you know, there's a lot of people, you know?
Well, and it's like in the preview where it shows Tara going to Oceanside.
It actually showed all the people in Oceanside running and stuff. I think the whole group went. I think next week is when we see that.
And that makes me nervous because, I mean, Tara kept her word for as long as she could, but...
That's going to be a really interesting episode.
Yeah, it's going to be intense.
Because I'm pretty sure next week that's what's going to come to a head is them going there and her having, to deal with...
Once again, whatever happened to the guy that was with Tara?
I'm trying to remember his name. The black guy with the dreads and, like, glasses.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he just kind of disappeared off the radar. And it's been a few episodes. Because when it showed the episode of him and Tara, it was like, oh, wait a minute. We haven't seen Tara in a while. What?
Yeah.
And it took us back to like, whoa, wait, it has been a while since we've seen Tara.
Well, remember how it led into that? The episode before, it ended with her, like, washing up on a beach. And we're like, oh, yeah, where the hell has she been? We haven't seen her in a while. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, a beach? Where the hell is she at? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I could remember his name. But it was obvious in that episode that he got away.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to be gone this long, he obviously didn't go right back to Alexandria.
Maybe
we're going to see more of him. Something's going to happen. I mean, maybe he's going to pop up, you know, maybe during, like, the war. You know, I don't know. Who knows? But remember the mind state he was in that episode. Remember, he was just kind of sick of it all. He was just kind of over it, you know? Mm-hmm. So he's not really, like, in the right state of mind. So, yeah, he got back in the motorhome and took off. But he didn't seem like he was really in the state of mind that where he would just go back to Alexandria, you know? Like, he probably, like you were saying, just moved on, you know? Like, looked for something new, you know? Like, who knows what he's doing? I mean, I would like to think that he actually would have looked for her. Because remember, the last he saw it was when she went over the edge with the walker.
You would think so, but I don't think that's what he did. I think at that point he's like, I'm going to fend for himself, and just took off.
I think so. And remember, there was that quick transition with him. Because remember when they all killed all the saviors at the outpost? Remember who it affected the hardest? 2 people. Glenn and him. Because remember, it affected Glenn pretty bad, because that was like the first time that Glenn really had to, like, kill humans.
People that...
Like, humans. Because remember, Glenn never really had.
And it was so sad when Beth went. I know that's just completely random, but it's like they had to kill humans too.
Well, no, I know that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone has.
Yeah.
But Glenn was, like, literally, like, one of the last people to do it. And if we had like a body count on each character, like I think Glenn would probably have the lowest of humans. Rick would probably have the most. Out of just our survivors, not Governor and Negan and all them, but just out of the survivors. Carol would probably be up there.
Carol's pretty far up there. I mean, she had to kill Lizzie. Just look at the flowers.
Yeah, she has probably one of the most savage ones, really.
Just look at the flowers, Lizzie, and it's just like, oh.
Shooting a freaking 10-year-old in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
She had to do it, though.
She did have
Lizzie
to do it.
Lizzie killed her own sister just so that she could play with her. She was feeding the rats. It made you think it was the governor. And you find out all this time it was Lizzie giving the walkers rats.
Yeah, she didn't understand it, remember? She didn't understand how it all worked, you know? Yeah, like you said, she's playing with her sister and all that. Wow, that's a crazy tangent. You just pulled me down. Yeah. But I don't know. What are we down to, like, isn't it 2 episodes left now?
Yes, 2 episodes left.
So we have next week's, and then the week after that will be the season finale, right?
Yes.
So, and as I've been predicting this year, I had a feeling that, like, the season finale will, like, the very end of the season finale will probably be, like, leading into the start of the war, right? That's kind of like what I've been thinking.
It's going to leave a huge cliffhanger.
Oh, it's going to be bad. And it's probably going to be another, like, hour and a half season finale. I can even see next week's being, like, an hour and a half. And then maybe the finale being maybe even closer to, like, 2 hours. So they've done stuff like that before, too. Remember one time, was it at the beginning of the year, or there was, like, some point recently when they did, like, a few episodes in a row that were, like, an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, like, sometimes they do that, you know? Like, just randomly, an episode will be, like, longer than usual, you know? So it's kind of weird how they do that, but you can always count on, like, season openers and season enders being, like, an hour and a half. And the mid-season enders and openers as well being an hour and a half usually, but...
And it's just...
Yeah, these are the last 2 episodes, and it's going to get crazy.
It's going to get super crazy.
Especially for whatever, you know, whatever they're doing to Riverside next week. I mean, because obviously the pressure's on for them to get the guns. But like we've said before, it's like they just all need to get together.
Well, the main things that Rick and Michonne need to know is that King Ezekiel is now on their side, ready to fight.
Yeah, it would be good if they knew that now.
Morgan and Carol, both people are very good at strategizing, and they know what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and that's a huge thing, is having Morgan ready to take them all out now, because Morgan is very capable, you know, very capable.
Well, and Morgan goes and pulls that speech that what's his name? Richard. Because after he kills Richard, he goes and proceeds to do the speech that Richard was giving. We know what we have to do now. We understand.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, me and you kind of talked about this yesterday, like, off air, but I can see him doing it so that, I don't want to say so that Richard's death means something, but, I mean, because, like, he did it out of, like, you know, just anger and just, you know, he killed him with his bare hands. He snapped. Yeah, I mean, you kill someone with your bare hands. That's a lot of... I mean, remember even Scott Gimple said that in Talking Dead after. You kill someone with your bare hands. That's a lot of rage.
Yeah.
But I think he still tells Gavin that so that plan still happens, you know, because he's not going to, you know, like, have, you know, Richard dies and then, you know, they just don't, you know, go down that path, but... Yeah, I don't know. They definitely need to all get together. And what I would like to see, I wonder if Tara told Rick the history of or it's Oceanside, not Riverside, right?
Oceanside.
It's Oceanside. Yeah. Sorry, I called it Riverside earlier. Duh. California mind. But I wonder if she told Rick the whole history of Oceanside, how it's all women, like widows of Negan's victims, right? You know, so it's like they're all like widows because of Negan and the Saviors.
They're not going to be too happy Tara brought back all of them.
No. It's obviously going to be a hard product to sell, but even when she was there, they didn't really seem hell-bent on revenge. They were hell-bent on just hiding from the Saviors, right? You know, because they didn't want anyone... That's why they were going to kill Tara, because they don't want anyone to know about where they're at, about their community, period. So they're obviously not, like, in the revenge state of mind. I don't know if Rick and them could really persuade them into that. But that would be even more help if they can get Oceanside.
I think they're going to get a hard stop. I think Oceanside might be like, you know what, fine, take what you need, leave us with what we need, and go on your way.
It might come down to that. I mean, I would like to think that it's not going to be like some fight, you know, because like our group against a bunch of women, like,
yeah,
that's a little too brutal. But, you know, it's a brutal ass show, you know, so...
That it is. And it's getting intense. I mean, we're coming down to the season finale. And it's so weird how they do it, mid-season finale, season finale. Like,
well,
so
no,
much
what they
has
call
happened.
What they call it, it's an A season and a B season.
Kind of like in high school. A day, B day.
Yeah, I guess kind of like that. But there's 16 episodes in a season. We know they cut it, you know, they do 8. And then like a couple month break, and then 8 again. The first 8 is season A, second 8 is season B. I've heard Chris Hardwick refer to that, you know, season A, season B. I mean, a lot of shows are doing that now, though, like split things. It's a thing that's common in the UK. A lot of TV in the UK does the split ones. Which is funny because how many actors in Walking Dead are British, right?
Oh, I know. That's so true. I love hearing Morgan's, when they have Morgan on the Talking
I
Dead.
love Lenny James.
And he speaks with his, like, actual voice instead of his American accent or whatever. Like, he does an American accent so well for being British.
Well, and Rick, too.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, and Rick, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, Rick's, you really don't...
I know, when you see him behind the scenes on The Talking Dead, you're like, whoa. You forget that they're completely British and have a completely different accent than what we have.
Yeah. Well, and how I told you before how Lenny James is a voice actor on Destiny, his voice acting in Destiny kind of has the British accent. It's not as thick as it is in real life, but it's there. So so I'm kind of pretty used to hearing Lenny James's like natural voice, but yeah, he's such an amazing actor. Like I've always loved Lenny James for a long time. But yeah, because even the governor was from over there. The guy that plays Jesus, isn't it like Tom Paine or something? He's I don't know if it's British or Australian. He was something. Wasn't it Australia? They said or something. I can't remember. Sure. Wake up.
I am awake. I'm awake.
Barely.
No, but I like to see where The Walking Dead is going now, because I remember when it came back, it was so depressing.
That
little
first
pig,
episode...
Little pig, let me in. And it was just like, oh my God. And then the most heartbreaking thing Negan could have ever said was when he saw Rick on the recorder, when he first showed up to Alexandria. Full beard, just... crazy man status, and Negan's like, I would have not have fucked with that guy. And it's like, that guy's still in there. You just broke him down. He's gonna come back.
I know.
Watch out for that guy, because that guy is savage, and Rick is gonna be back, and he's gonna have your... Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, I think Rick's back, but I don't think he's that guy, though.
I don't think he will ever quite be that guy again, but... It was so heartbreaking to hear Negan say, I would not have fucked with that guy.
Especially after all the crap that he just did and was still doing.
Because he had just gotten out of Terminus, he had just gotten out of the jail, the governor, and
well, yeah,
he was
the
going
prison
through one thing after another where it was just like tearing him down.
Yeah, because the prison had fallen, and then they had to deal with, the termites and everyone at Terminus, and that crap was just savage, and and then that was when they found Alexandria.
But he did promise him he'd get him with the red ratchet, and he did.
The red-handled machete.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest Rick moments, was when he got Gareth.
With the, like I told you, it's gonna kill you with it.
Yeah, he went, oh my god, that one was so brutal too. Yeah, that one was crazy. We actually talked about this earlier tonight off air, but I just want to mention on here too, is like what I was telling you when we were watching Talking Dead is this speaks to how good the show is, how I mean, it's based off comics, so you also have to give credit to that. How good Robert Kirkman is, the guy that writes and created the comics. How good Scott Gimple is in the writers and directors, and Greg Nicotero, the special effects makeup. Just everybody that works on this show, and how good it is. Like, when, how I was telling you, whenever Simon and the Saviors are around, your stomach is literally in knots. You're just waiting for something to happen, because you never know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny, because remember, Simon said that in this episode, he's like, I'm a peculiar guy, peculiar taste, you never know what I'm going to do, I might drink tequila and party or something, he says something, like what he's going to do, it's definitely like exactly like what I was saying about it, and that just tells you how good of a show it is, that every time they're around, like, you're literally just on edge.
Oh, what are they gonna do now?
Yeah, and, like, especially when Negan's around, any scene when Negan's around, you're literally just, like, holding your breath.
And the Saviors said they were there to find somebody, just point them in the right direction. They never found them.
Well, do you think they meant the Doctor? Because it almost seemed like their goal of showing up that time was to get the Doctor and then maybe see if Daryl was there.
But I don't
think... But if they were there, like, looking for Daryl, they would have done what they did at Alexandria. They would have tore the place apart.
Yeah.
I don't think they were really there for Daryl.
I don't think they were, because they don't know that Rick Michonne and everybody else has affiliated with the Hilltop. They don't know that yet.
Yeah,
because
they don't.
Every time they've gone to the Hilltop, they don't see people from Alexandria there.
Exactly, and that's what Greg's been trying to hide. Because remember, that's why when Rick and them came there for that meeting to try and get them to go to war with him, he was like, leave out the back door, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to hurry and get them out because he didn't want the Saviors to see them, to let them know that they, like, knew each other and were, like, affiliated. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if they found out that Hilltop and Alexandria was affiliated, stuff would get different really fast between Simon and Gregory.
Oh yeah, it would get just as brutal as it is with Negan and Rick now.
Yeah, I think Negan would probably start showing up to the Hilltop at that point, and it's kind of weird. I mean, they've never really said, like, why Negan doesn't show up to Hilltop or the Kingdom. I mean, they have kind of, like, made it kind of seem like Simon and Gavin handle those communities good enough that Negan doesn't really need to be there,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I kind of think it is. Me and you was talking about this earlier tonight. We were talking about how Simon is really Negan's, like, number 2, like, main guy. And you brought up Dwight. And you brought up Dwight. And I'm like, well...
I was able to see that the reason Dwight is, like, the second hand that may seem a little closer than Simon is because Negan can't trust Dwight. So he keeps him close.
Exactly.
Whereas there's more trust with Simon. He doesn't have to worry. He's going to try and run. He's going to try and turn on him. He's not going to... Because Simon knows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a question they were asked in The Talking Dead is how long do you think Simon and Negan have known each other?
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say the same thing. And just like what Stephen Ogg said, I fully agree with. I think him and Negan have known each other for a long time. I don't know if I would go as far as saying that they knew each other before the apocalypse, but I don't know. Maybe like right after, maybe from the beginning. But I don't know. Because me and you have kind of theorized before, like maybe like what Negan did, before the apocalypse. Me and you both agree that he definitely had. We think he definitely had kids.
The way he showed
Judith, how
attention,
he was with her,
yeah, how he's just like, oh my god, it's a child.
Yeah, I think he had kids.
Well, yeah, he had Sam and Dean.
Every time I try to talk to you about this, you always got to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know.
He was a demon hunter, and now he is the real mastermind.
Now he's a human hunter.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you are too damn good for your own good. I swear, he plays Negan perfect to a T, and it's a really strong love-hate relationship because it's like, Negan, you are the worst by far, way worse than the governor ever was, way worse than the Terminus was.
Remember when I told you a long time ago, like, I think we're getting into when the Saviors come, and
Negan,
and then remember...
When you very first see Dwight, and they're running from the Saviors.
Yeah, and then remember a couple months ago, remember when Hardwick said something, how Jeffrey Dean Morgan was going to be the one playing Negan? I was like, oh my god, like, that is perfect. And look how good it is, like, he is...
It's rough, because it's a true love-hate. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan for everything that he does, but seeing him as Negan, it's like, you son of a bitch.
And it's funny, because I think that's probably the common reaction among Walking Dead fans. I mean, I've seen a lot of Negan cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
Even gender-bender Negan cosplayers, like women doing Negan cosplay.
That's true.
And
I like the ones that won
they're pretty dope.
I like the ones that won the contest. The biggest fan, the cosplayer.
That one that's awesome, yeah, because they're a real life couple, and they met at a Comic-Con.
Well, it was when they were at the graveyard.
Oh, it was the premiere of the season premiere special they did at the graveyard after. That's right.
They had to get a special permit to do it in a graveyard.
And she was cosplaying
Michonne.
as Michonne, and he was cosplaying Rick. That is so ironic. That is awesome, though.
I know, it's so cool that they met that way. Now they're just together. It's so crazy how...
That's going to be awesome. They're going to be on the couch next week.
Yeah, they are. With Maggie. Well,
Maggie and... Who the hell was the other one?
Guy? Person? I don't recall.
God, this is going to bug me, because I want to say it. We only have a couple minutes left before we have to wrap it up, but... Yeah, it was Maggie, the fans, and...
Was it Jesus?
No, it wasn't Tom Payne, no.
Was it?
It wasn't,
Gregory?
No, it wasn't, it wasn't him. I was thinking it might have been him, but no, it wasn't him.
We'll have to look it up and let you know next week when we talk about Talking Decay.
Yeah, we'll have to let it, we'll have to let you know.
We'll get back to you on that one. We'll look it up probably right after this and be like, oh, that's who it was. Why couldn't we remember that?
Right.
It's a Monday.
I mean, it actually might have been another woman, but I can't remember.
I thought it was a guy.
Yeah, because there was a guy listed on there, but... Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember who even just said who was on it. Oh, Maggie and the fans.
Yeah.
The couple that are this season's Walking Dead like ultimate fan winners.
Are you sure it wasn't Gregory?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But yeah, we'll
wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll try and remember. We'll have to wrap it up. But yeah, like I said, we're getting down. 2 more episodes. And so that pretty much means 2 more episodes of this podcast as well, because I don't think we're really going to be doing a Walking Dead podcast when the show's off air.
That's true.
But we'll probably come up with something. I mean, we have our regular podcast on Sundays, too, where we talk about everything, so...
Working on a schedule for that. But thank you for listening to our Talking Decay
But yeah, thanks for listening. If you like the show, just hit that sub button on YouTube, and yeah, every Sunday and Monday are the podcasts, and check out the rest of the content on the channel. And we will see you next week.
Deuces.